Oh, I started making some videos again today, and I'm having fun. And that's why I'm doing all this stuff. Is I want to get good at making videos. I want to get good at communicating for the videos. I want to get good at scripting them maybe sometimes instead of just freestyling and rambling. But what I've been doing is the reason why I'm panning around the apartment is I realized I'm doing all this work on the car, and the car is going to be a content creating platform basically. But I also need to have a home base for it, so I basically tore my apartment apart. When I moved in here, I'd bought a pop up tent, and these are the four walls that I bought to go with the tent because I wanted to be able to fully enclose this 10 by 10, or it was an 8 by 8 pop up, I think. And it exactly covers my entire kitchen area. So, but anyways, yeah, I've been working at this all day instead of the car because I had that big podium kind of wedged half into the kitchen, and I couldn't access behind it, which is where all of my records were. So I'm like, this isn't very functional, and I'm wasting a lot of space. And I really like the openness of a feng shui approach, so I kind of just decided to pull everything basically into my little bed area and then clutter up, basically fire hazard my door. I had to repark my car today because they were doing inspections and I have expired tabs. So it was a seat that I keep down by my car. It's now in here. I bought it because I don't want power seats, and my power seats are starting to get really slow, and that doesn't fit. So as I pulled it up here tonight, I'm like, why don't I take this goddamn... I'm taking everything apart. I'm taking everything electric apart that I don't need. Because I'm learning how to work with circuit boards and Raspberry Pis. So I'm like, why don't I take that apart? And maybe I could put some of this on some of the parts of my seat. I don't know. It's just... The goal is weight. I don't want a bunch of electric shit. I don't need electric seats. I can, in fact, they're slow and sluggish. Oh, and this needs to come out. So I started making videos for a friend just to kind of show her these items that were given to me. I was doing a Facebook offer deal to buy a TV for like $20, and I left there with two TVs, basically a 28-inch BenQ monitor, which I needed for my bed area, because once I put those four screens up, they're not really, firmly mounted there, and I don't want to keep taking them apart because this weird mount that I built is probably not going to hold if I keep taking them apart. So I used to grab one of those and I would put it on here when I would, go to bed and watch movies. I'm like, well, I need at least something for the little bed area. So I was actually going there to pick up. I should probably just open these right now. They're kind of a pain in the ass. Keeping them shut. There we go. But that's so I don't have my apartment looking like an apartment. I can kind of transform it a little bit. Yeah, I got a 42-inch Vizio. And that's what I was going for. It was going to be $20. He made me a sweet deal on that, and then gave me 3 Raspberry Pis, a like $100, it's a battery, right, for a FireWire that has, USB-C and FireWire, but if you plug it into this, it converts all that, or I guess it would slow. I have no idea what's going on with this damn thing. If I plug a USB-C into here, it lights up and charges a battery. So I have no idea what this thing is for. I don't know what's going on with this. Why do you need the goddamn HDMI? It doesn't even serve a purpose. And then it has another one. Anyways, I'm confused. This little guy is cool. It's a good step for, what, augmented reality, I believe. but it's not even really augmented reality. It's just it's a pair of, kind of freakish looking, and the more I look at them, they're kind of feminine, right? But they have speakers. They're not like earphone speakers, but and it's got two buttons right there, action button and a rocker. You plug this in to the device that's going to be feeding the signal, and it puts basically the equivalent of like a 70-inch screen, right? And it's really nice. Like, it looks really good, but I need glasses for the glasses because it makes my nearsightedness farsightedness. He gave me this strange but amazing multi-charger. It's a 10,000 milliamp hour. They're calling it like a backup battery UPS. It is a mini UPS backup battery, model FX 5-12, 10,000 milliamp hours. You can put in 5 volt, 2 amp, up to 2 amp micro U. Is that right? Mirco? Didn't notice that. Mirco USB. Or a 12 volt 3 amp DC, which I thought that's pretty remarkable. And then it outputs through the USB 5 volt, and then it has another 5 volt. I forget these are called barrel connectors, and then a 9 volt, and then a 12 volt. Like, this is a very interesting battery bank. Very interesting. I love it. Hell, I could couple this battery bank with my 30,000 milliamp hour, and I could run a Raspberry Pi. I have my 2 Raspberry Pis over there also. It has a strange power cord. He gave me 2 power cords. These are $20 each. They're USB-C, 3 amp power supplies. This thing is old. It's a little slow, but it's incredible. It's a battery bank, right? With micro SD card, and you're gonna notice some strange stuff, right? It's got, what's that, 2.4 and 5G? It's called a RAV power. And as it turns out, I've been researching all these things for the few days after I got them, which is recently. And I'm just now kind of figuring out what they're designed to do. And I realize a lot of what they're designed to do, I'm not really going to use them for. So I'm trying to find all the specs. Like, I want to know, for instance, what's the bit rate on that? What's the sample rate on that? And I realized after I took it apart, there was a Hi-Fi Berry hat in there for a Raspberry Pi 4B 4 gigabyte. But this thing it's remarkable. So I don't know how to use it. It's called a FileHub Travel Router Wi-Fi Power Bank. It has 6,700 milliamp hours, but I don't understand the rated capacity of 4,100. So I guess it has a battery that, okay, it has some of this battery that it can use to charge other devices, and then a fixed amount that can never be used to charge other devices. But, it's not an amazing charger. It's definitely not a fast charger, and the research that I've done into this, you can hook up Ethernet through, I think the USB-C middle is just for power, I think. Yeah, and the other 2 are Ethernet data. It's like basically a router, so that would be the USB on a router. That's the Ethernet. So you can create like a little hub situation. So like I could probably take my Samsung phone and do wired USB tethering. Boop. I guess I should try it there. There's no information on the internet about any of these things. It's a real pain in the ass. This is one of the coolest things he gave me. I'm just kind of figuring out what it does. So it's called a Jack Trip Analog Bridge Starter Kit. Now, Jack Trip usually sells this unit, and inside this unit, did I make it so that we can take it apart? I hope so. This thing was a pain in the ass to take apart. No, I'm not going to take it apart again, because I put it back together really well. But basically what you got in there is a Raspberry Pi with what's called a hi-fi audio hat. I've been looking at these for a while. It's only $50 for the hat, but you know, it adds, you know, standard Raspberry Pi, there's your audio output, but it adds balanced RCA and stereo mini plug outputs. I think that's all it adds. It's got the micro SD card in it. Now this thing is called an analog bridge. So the unit itself is designed to be used, so I would sit here and I would use this as my monitor. I think is in a lot of the videos that I've watched, that's what's going on with that. I think I would want to use that as my DJ signal into a recording source, but the way this thing is designed to be used is you go online with someone who's maybe somewhere other than where you're at. But I mean, it could be far away, it could be in the next room. And as a musical artist, I would, so that must be an input. Or is that the input? I don't even know. Because these guys are playing guitars. Oh, I guess, yeah, you have a lot of option over there with an audio interface. So you'd have to have an audio interface. But what this thing does is this streams to the internet with super low latency to the other person on the other side, and the guy running this, it's basically like about a guitarist and a celloist collaborating on a track over the internet, right? And so when you add the analog bridge, it's like a loop back feature, which I'm not going to explain it fully right, but it's two Raspberry Pis, except this one has no hat, right? So, okay. Oh, what's going on here? Now I'm a little confused. So an analog bridge. So I think then this is the one probably. Dude, I have no idea. I have no idea. You know, I did a bunch of research on this. Something about you fire them at each other, and so you could send your guitar into this, and then through its monitor you can hear your guitar and what's going, you know, on the other end as well. So as a bridge, it's kind of like, you know, in home internet, when you bridge it, what you do is you take your home router and just use it as a pass-through, right? You send the internet to something else. But then, of course, you get all of this ability for a bunch of piggybacking to go on. It's not a one-to-one. You get all kinds of ways of doing, you know, getting stuff to people. So as a regular Raspberry Pi, you know, it doesn't have a super audio function, you know, but the rest of it's, you know, it's got USB 3.0, it's got Bluetooth, it's got Wi-Fi. So I got a little more research, and then that's where these gifts were amazing. It's like this is a Raspberry Pi with a hi-fi berry hat, and it's kind of like these are my first two Raspberry Pis that I bought. They were called helium miners, M1 sense cap helium miners. So I got really stoned one day and I decorated them with tape. Like I do all my stuff here in this house, but I kept this off so I can kind of show you. I'm getting a lot of Raspberry Pis right now, but not just Raspberry Pis. I'm getting all of their peripherals, which is why I was talking earlier about taking apart, you know, things that are electrical and of value. But if you look at this pile, all of these are compatible with all of these, and I got drawers of functionality. More, I got a screen, a touch screen here. I got, you know, more backup battery banks. I got one of those little guys, never used one before. So, you know, basically Helium was this thing where, I don't know, I don't do crypto, but that's got a LoRa gateway card on it with a M.2, basically it's like an M.2 Wi-Fi card, except that's a lot bigger than my M.2 Wi-Fi card. So it might be the hard drive M.2, but it's like the 2210 form factor instead of the 2280, I think. I think 2210 is what it is. So I'm trying desperately to find, because with LoRa, I have 2 of these. So what I can do is I can create a 12 kilometer distant, like this can shoot Wi-Fi 12 kilometers, but it's not like phone conversations. Like you can send text messages and well, I'm just learning. So, think low bandwidth data packets. Think smaller packets, but they can contain more than ones and zeros. It can be like an old texting style. But for 12 kilometers off of like solar power, you put a battery pack with it and a little solar panel, and you can put these gateways in nature and create your own network. So I'm like, I really want to repurpose this really bad. I have a bunch of micro SD cards now. There's a Raspberry Pi with heatsink and cooler, so I have 2 extra heat sinks and coolers, 2 extra. I would really like to repurpose this into like hard drive. I don't want to run my OS off of a micro SD, and I mean that is well, I gotta do some more research. So right now, not a lot of people are talking about how they're repurposing these, but I did get one guy yesterday talking about repurposing it, but he's using all this complex terminology about LoRa that I just don't understand. So, and now I have a Raspberry Pi with another card on it that's a Hi-Fi Berry audio hat, which is right up my alley. That came with another Raspberry Pi as a basically. I'm just, my brain is overwhelmed with trying to dig in the internet to get numbers. I need to know, things like, well, there's some good data here on it's 5 volt 2 amp, 5 volt 1 amp, but it doesn't give me any data about the Wi-Fi functionality on this. What is this Ethernet port? As it turns out, it's only like 300 megabits per second, so it's like less than N rating. Is this USB-C just power, or is it pass data as well? Same thing for that USB. I can't find, I think I've looked at the user manual for it, and it's just like 2 pages of fluff, and that's where a lot of these, I've bought a lot of items from Amazon that are, made in China. And the thing is that the made in China stuff is made well. Like I have a Renogy 40 amp DC to DC charger. They don't break on me. They just don't come with instructions, and the support's really difficult. So yeah, this is my treasure trove. Oh, this thing. Another item that's above my head. This guy worked for Facebook on their VR, their Oculus, and he also worked for Skullcandy. So he was like a major tech guy, and really friendly. And just because he liked me and he wanted to, he's moving into a very nice trailer with his family, and they're just going to travel, and he's going to teach his kids, and so he's removing all of his excess weight, something that I did when I moved into my car a long time ago, and I absolutely loved it. Just not having all that stuff and realizing I didn't want to really let it go, but I never really found myself sitting in my car saying, wow, I wish I had this thing that I no longer have. I realized how little I needed those things. And so, when I moved in here, I'm like, I don't want to accumulate a bunch of stuff. So I did my best, but as it turns out, all the stuff that I'm accumulating, well, I got my records back, is useful. Like all this, I found the, that's a metal like bed rack. I don't even know what that is. Found that in the basement, found that in the basement, found that chair in the basement, found this in the basement, found this ottoman in the basement, found this chair in the basement, found that table in the basement, found that table in the basement. And that's why I'm trying to I don't want to have a bunch of stuff looking cluttery. It fucks with my head. So, in trying to open this place up, I'm kind of in this zone right now where I want this to be really beautiful, and I want it to be camera friendly. And suddenly in the middle, I broke into just sending a couple of videos about this incredible deal that was just given to me. I'm down to less than $100. Like I don't have income, so I have to spend I've sold some things on Amazon or not Amazon, Facebook, and so I'm kind of juggling two little resources to really bring the computer side of this car together. Oh, 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 forgot about this. All four of these WS2812B 8x32 LED matrices. Now, Annie gave me a microphone. There's another microphone. Forgot about that. I mean, it's nothing special, but it's just an extra USB mic, which I don't have. When you don't have money, you've either got to, like, in the case of this guy, this was just straight synchronicity, because all of these are immediately useful to the projects that I'm currently engaging in, even if they need a lot of, or I need a lot of training on them. Because like I need to, when I was saying earlier, I was starting to talk about specs, is, I need to know what each port puts in and what each port allows in and what each port pushes out, because I'm a car audio guy, and that's part of my car audio install. Is I have a bunch of gear that can put out really high voltage line level RCA signals up to 15 volts. So in a car audio system, usually that sits around 2 volts. What the radio puts out to your amplifiers. Well, I've got 4 audio control devices whose input and output stages can receive, up to 12 volts. So I'm trying to like plan cable hookups and draw all of my wiring diagrams. So that's where this amazing gift, I've spent a week researching these things, and I'm just kind of, all I'm learning is this, I guess, the basic usage of these items. And so once I find out what they are, and then I'm like, oh wow, there's a lot of potential for me to be able to do something, with these things, and a lot of it's based around, interfacing with my vehicle's OBD2, an in-car NAS, so when I make content, I can just have it always active. Usually I'll be running laptops, tablets, one ITX computer, but if I just have one of these always in the car for uploading data, and then it can spit it out while I'm using all the other gear to make videos and edit videos, because I don't have really powerful computers. Oh, that's another use. These can be editing computers. I can have like 3 of these as one computer. One renders, well, see, this is where I get, I know a little bit about what they can do, so I can kind of project different ways that I can kind of use them, but I can't speak confidently on what I was just about to say. That one could render one video and another one could render another. I don't know how. I'd probably have to turn these into virtual machines and virtualize their resources and use them for I/O and connectivity with other things, and they can be mounted in different places. So right now I have all of these ideas, but I'm really, it's a little bit above my pay grade. I'm not historically a tech guy, so I'm trying to because these things were free, and the synchronicity behind these is so intense. I really want to maximize their potential, but I still haven't finished the car. The car is so damn close. But taking this break, I realize I kind of need to at least know a little bit about what these are, so I can kind of start planning for what they're going to do in the car, because maybe I need to add a mount now. I'm at the stages where I'm running all the final cables. Everything's installed, I just got to finish running the cables. And I've got all my 0-gauge oxygen-free copper to put in, a bunch of used RCA cables, but they're super high-end RCA cables from a used computer store called RePC. I got a AudioQuest Emerald, the Emerald Green AudioQuest RCAs. They're $130. I got it for $1. So that's, once again, to kind of not ramble so much and bring it back. This is where my mentality is. I know what my cables are doing. I bought USB multimeters, so things that I can plug USB things in and read how much power they're passing, how much signal they're passing. You know, I need to know a lot of this stuff because I want to not just maximize it. I don't want to have a bunch of problems that I got to troubleshoot. I'm done installing. I'm done being Mr. I can be anybody I want and learn tech, because I'm not naturally a tech guy. I'm a dancer. I'm a DJ. I'm really excited about making content though. You know, but every time I make a content video, I'm like, well, I could make this content video, but I still have a lot of prep to do, so that all I have to do every day is wake up, and when I feel like it, make content. My vehicle is self-sustaining. If I want to sleep in it, I can. I've got an apartment now. You know, I do enjoy being in here, but I'd rather be moving around, meeting people, dancing again. I haven't danced for 5 years. So, yeah. This is kind of the state of things. I'll get this done in the next couple hours. There's a nice little pocket of clean over there, so that really motivates me. This does not motivate me. I mean, no, it does motivate me if I got one of these. If it was all just that, I'd probably leave my apartment and go work on the car. Maybe I'm going to dismantle these. Definitely want to, I've got to build a stand for this, because, you know, I don't have a wall mount. So I've kind of got a couple of ideas for, you know, how to build a stand, and then that's a very sturdy metal table, so that's going to go there, like just arms everywhere holding things, grippy things, holding things. And this is another programmable touchscreen, old school, so I can use this with one of the Raspberry Pis via HDMI. It's all a lot of fun, but I'd rather it was just functioning. So anyways, I'm gonna get off this video. I need to get focused, but it is fun. It is fun getting on the camera again. Can't wait for all of this to be doing what it's supposed to be doing, and I could start traveling and having conversations with people who enjoy music and with people who live in this world just like me.